Elk, before you go, if I were to ask you for a dark horse pick this week, because we have thrown some really great high odd names into our tour report, do you have any super high odds for a dark horse?
Yes, I do. I'm glad you asked. Another South Carolina boy named Mark Anderson, who is 190th in the FedEx, very motivated, at home this week, but two very important stats that he holds. He's in the top 16 in greens and reg, and he's in about the top 15 in 150 to 175 yard proximity to the hole. So when you think about that, it's almost like similar to your brother. And when you go to a golf course like this, not everybody can hit the corners of these greens, Diane. And if you're on the top of the tour, this is the week to do it, because this is where these greens become, off-shaped jelly beans with a piece over here on the side that you've got to get to, and another one that runs away from you. And guys that are good iron players, they know how to get that ball on the green, and he's proven it. He's got the stats, and he needs to get better than 190th. He needs to be in the top 125. So this is the week for him.
Okay. And, when we throw out these names, there's a lot of value in a top 20 finish, a top 10 finish. I mean, Mark Anderson is 400 to 1. So you've picked a great, true dark horse, which I'm all for.
I love Mark Anderson at 400 to 1. I'm going out and doing it right now.
Okay, excellent. Right, Elk, thank you very much. I will hopefully catch you up at Congaree at the weekend. We'll take a picture and we can get it on social. You're playing it next week, so we'll talk more about that too.
I may even invite you up onto the members' veranda at Congaree.
Gosh, wow. I'll buy you a drink if you do.
No, I'll buy you one. Okay,
even better deal. Saturday is considered moving day, and you can play along on the SG Tour. It's a one-day stroke play competition where you select a team of 4 players to shoot the lowest scores of the day. Will you make big moves? Download the SG Tour Golf Gaming app on iOS now. Well, we're on to the dark horses this week for the Palmetto Championship, and Jay Kaplan is here. Don't get me started on what you're trying to disguise in the background. Nobody knows where you are, what you're doing. You're losing your voice again. I'm lost for words. Cappy.
Diane, it is great to be in the free world. I know it looks like I'm in solitary confinement. My voice, you would think I was yelling for help constantly to try to get out of this room that I'm in. But I promise you, I'm okay. This is what I get when I go on vacation and everybody gets mad at me, and then I come back and I'm forced to sit in a room by myself for like weeks.
Oh, you could have put a nice golf course behind you or anything. Instead, it looks like you're on friggin' Dateline trying to disguise your shenanigans, but that's okay. We know that you're a decent human being. What you get up to in your own time is completely up to you. So, what we care about is your dark horse picks. Last week, Carlos Ortiz worked out pretty good. Top 20 finish and 125 to 1 or 140 to 1. So his odds were good. And we did say that there was value in maybe a top 20 finish.
Yeah, last week we talked about him, and you and Al both were like, no chance, stay away. He's poison. And I said, usually when the consensus is that, I'll go the other way. I'm going to do that this week too, but I do want to commend Carlos on a good finish. Sunday, he leaked oil. He actually started Sunday's round T6 going into Sunday and shot a 3 over. I forgive you, Carlos. Top 20 when everybody's doubting you and your game is good. And Brian Streelman, he made the cut too. So I feel like I was 2 for 2. Did I say that right? Brendan Steele.
Yeah, I was like, Brian Streelman. See, I told you there's something going on. No, we're just leaving it. We're rolling with it. God. If you're going to blur your background out, then we're going to roll with your little.
I deserve it. Brendan Steele, Remington Steele, whatever your name is, well done, bro.
Right, well, this week, as we've been talking about, it's Congaree Golf Club. It's a very sandy course. We know that that's going to be key. We know that second shot is going to be really the pivotal one when it comes to navigating around this sandy course. So I'm intrigued as to who your dark horse picks are. You have two. I technically have two, actually, because Elk threw me another one that he wants me to mention. So let's go turnabout. You start.
I love it when you and Elk team up against me. I actually find it very motivating. Just like last week, you teamed up against me, and now I'm fired up for this week. So South Carolina is clearly the golf capital of the world in the last month. We were at Kiowa a couple weeks ago. Now we're at this new club that was built by billionaires in a very philanthropic way. Great layout. It's a fascia layout. Nobody's got any advantage here, really, because we just don't know. So I kind of looked at stats, and when the chart was spit out with numbers, I was like, all right, who's got the decent odds that's way up there? So my first guy has absolutely no business being a dark horse pick. So I'm going to throw out my warning now. I've actually used him before, but here's my logic, and follow me on this. He's missed 7 of his last 8 cuts. He's a terrible player right now. But what that means as a tour player is something's got to give. And when you have a course that nobody knows, I feel like that brings everybody back to the pack. So if this guy can actually get off to a decent start, he's got a chance. We just needed to make a cut and get to the weekend. But if you look across the board, Diane, all his numbers are green. I can't figure out, unless it's injury, why this guy's really struggling. My first dark horse pick, and this is a deep, dark pick, kind of emblematic of the room that I'm sitting in, just dark. My first dark horse pick is James Hahn.
Well, James Hahn, looking at his season so far, it's definitely a tale of two halves, because he has had 4 top 10 finishes. And Vegas, he was tied for 5th. He's been really in contention on a couple of Sundays. Well, 4, if he's had 4 top 10s, if you think about it that way. But then you talk about those miscuts of late. He's 150 to 1. And I know the numbers that you're really going big on. That greens and reg stat, he's 23rd on the tour, and the approach from 150 to 175, 32nd. And I mean, accuracy off the tee, he's 37th. So we know that we've got that. We're not, as you say, there's still so much unknown about this course, and we're not entirely sure if it's going to be like a bomber's paradise out there and how often these guys are going to be pulling driver. It's not going to be an issue for James Hahn. He's not one of the longest hitters on tour anyway, but the accuracy stats are really key, and they're good. So we talk about the turnaround week, and it's very cliche, but at 150 to 1, there could be value in Hahn for a top 20, top 15, top 10 even.
I'm just banking the fact, I'm going on a purely scientific guess here because his numbers spit out right. Again, he could be injured. Nobody really knows what's wrong with him except for him. He's a very close to the vest kind of guy. So I'm going to trust that he's going to turn the corner this week and feel like this is a chance for me to get right at a course that's going to even out the competition.
Okay, so James Hahn at 150 to 1. My first dark horse pick is 125 to 1. So my odds are still in that dark horse realm. This guy's not playing good. We've talked about him at length. He's part of the Secret Golf team, and he won the Wyndham Championship in 2019 for his first victory. He just qualified at the start of the week to get into the US Open, played really well. He's one of these guys that I feel like gets off to a good start and then just can blow up. He's really good on the greens, and the putter saves him a lot. So kind of banking on that. But the main thing for my JT Poston pick this week is the fact that his long-term coach, John McNeely, is one of the directors of golf at Congaree. Now, we know that this course is only 3 years old, and JT Poston has played it a lot. His coach is based there. JT's from North Carolina, lives in St. Simon's Island, so he's been there a lot. He's going to have that experience of not only playing it, but his coach's guidance, who probably knows it better than most. So at 125 to 1, with that inside knowledge and a bit of experience, I'm going for JT Poston.
Interesting pick. Well, unless his coach can hit his tee ball, I'm not so sure about it. That's his Achilles. He can't get off the tee to even get to the green. So I'm curious to see if your logic will hold up this week. But I'm a big fan of Poston, and you're right, his putter is just ridiculous.
It is. And it saves him. We just need him to be a little bit more accurate. Sand saves his numbers pretty good as well, and we know that that's going to be an important stat this week. So fingers crossed at 125 to 1. Okay, who's your second guy?
So my second guy is also a gentleman that qualified for the US Open, which means he's coming off a good Monday. So I'm counting on that. My big feature with this guy is his tee ball. That's our top stat this week, and he ranks, in my book, a very thrilling number 2 on the entire PGA Tour with his driving accuracy. And he plays non-stop golf. I think he's played in every event since 1893. He is a guy that lives and breathes everything on the PGA Tour. He can tell you the best restaurants, where to go, where not to go, the right turns, the left turns. But what I like about this guy is he can sneak. He's definitely a cut maker. He can sneak in, and then if he can just stay and play, he's got a chance. My second dark horse pick is a guy that I've used before. I'm going to use him again. I trust him. He and I clearly have a great rapport, Diane. It's Brian Steward.
There's nothing more certain in golf than Brian Steward making the US Open through the qualifier. I mean, he does it every single year. He didn't get into Memorial, so he did have a week off and then did the qualifier and made it. So he's got Torrey Pines to look forward to next week. And that accuracy off the tee stat is amazing. So he's a bit of a stalwart on the PGA Tour. He's got one win under his belt and it came a long time ago. But Brian Steward at 125 to 1, I think he's a solid bet for the cut. And if we talk about the SG Tour golf gaming app, you want 4 guys to make the cut. I think he's a good 4-ball teammate in that sense too.
That's a great point. He's going to be in the C or D flight in your group. And again, if you have a guy that misses the cut, you're doomed unless everybody that you're playing with in your competition through the app misses a cut, because those 10 extra strokes every day, it's just the death knell when you're trying to win and earn a little bit of cash.
And then I only ever pick one, but after Elk picked a dark horse this week in Mark Anderson, which I love at 400 to 1. He just threw it out there, so that's cool. But he did have this other guy. However, I said a 75 to 1 dark horse does not really meet the criteria. Yeah. And that's Luke List. Now, he's been kind of tracking Luke List's performances over the past couple of months, and Wells Fargo Championship at Quail Hollow, he finished, I think it was in a tie for 6th. He played really good. He had a chance to win it, but Elk just threw this name out to me, Luke List. I said, looking at his numbers, I really can't see any reason why he's picking him. His best stat by a mile is greens and reg 48th. Everything else is red, so yeah, we'll see. I'll give Elk the credit for it, but at 75 to 1, I was like, we're not talking dark horse realm here.
Oh, I'm speaking on behalf of my mate Diane and myself. First of all, Diane, 75 to 1 earns one of your signature eye rolls. So could you at least there we go. So we always leave the strategy, the detail, the way to play a golf course to the professional, and that's Elk. But Elk, in this case, leave the dark horse to the professionals, would you? First of all, anything under 100 to 1 is not a dark horse. I don't care how well or poor the guy's playing. So I'm going to just give it to you this week, Elk. You can have it, because there's no way this guy's going to make the cut. All right, you put the bad mojo on him by including him in the dark horse. And then clearly he knows Mark Anderson and probably played somewhere with him. That's what. Usually Elk's like, I played with this guy at Champions last week and I liked him. He was funny. Not really golf related. I just kind of like the guy. So he goes with his heart. Kind of the Diane Knox school.
A little bit. And he did go with Ricky Fowler last week, which, you know, paid off.
Yep.